All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome to today's training. It's great to see everybody here. So today, guys, what we're going to be talking about is the economics of the high ticket model. Like, how does this all fit together? How do you stack up enough enrollments and sales and pricing and all this stuff to get your business to the income level that you want it to get to? And then also, how do you in real time make sure that your business is profitable and that you are commanding the kind of margins and profit and all that other stuff that you want? So that's what we're going to be covering today. So let me just go ahead and dive in.
Oh, hold up there. Nothing that I say on this channel should ever be taken as a claim about what you can do or what you can earn. According to the U.S. Department of Labor statistics, you have less than a 1 in 1,000 chance of building an 8-figure business. All business entails risk. Most businesses fail. All I can do on this channel is share with you what's worked for me and what's worked for my clients. What you do with that information is up to you. All right, back to the video.
The most important thing is just to understand the basics of the high ticket model and why it's so powerful is that really it is just a function of what are you charging to get a new client in the door and how many new clients are you getting and what is it costing you to acquire and to serve those clients. So let's say, for example, that you have a $5,000 program, right? For every 10 clients you get in the door, you're getting to 50K in revenue, all right? So then the rest of the calculation just becomes what is your, what's called CAC, your cost to acquire. So for most of you guys, you are running like a book a call funnel, right? That's what we teach at Clients on Demand. And I think that's what most of you guys are doing. Where you're driving traffic from Facebook or Instagram or some sort of online source, and you're driving people into either a VSL or a webinar, and you're having them book an appointment to talk to you. So the most critical metric to look at in the beginning is number one, like what are you spending to get a call booked, right? That's your CPB, cost per booking, right? And then you can figure out of the number of calls you got booked, how many of those people actually enrolled. Does that make sense? So let's say, for example, that you're spending $200 to get a call booked. So for every $2,000 you spend in ads, you are going to get 10 bookings. And if that 10 bookings resulted in one enrollment, and let's say your price point is $7,000, you just spent $2,000 to make $7,000, which would give you a cost to acquire of $2,000. Does that make sense, you guys? That's the basic calculation that you need to do when you're assessing your funnel, right? So again, what are you spending to get a call booked? If you're spending $2,000 on ads, let's say, how many bookings is that going to give you? Of the bookings you got, how many sales did that result in? And then what was your cash that you collected on that sale? And that's going to give you your cost to acquire a customer. So this is a number that all of you guys need to know and all of you guys need to optimize. So how do we optimize this number? Well, you can bring down your cost per booking so that you get more calls booked for the same ad spend, okay? You can increase your close rate on the phone so that more bookings turn into sales, right? So now for every 10 bookings, let's say you get your close rate higher. Now for every 10 bookings, you're getting 20% close rate. You're now making 2 sales for every 10 bookings. Well, now at that point, you're making $14,000 for every $2,000 you spend on advertising, right? So for every dollar you spend on Facebook, you would be making $7 back. And that's the basic economics of a high ticket funnel. So like if you guys are talking about spending, $1 on Facebook and making $7 back, my quick question to myself would be, okay, well then how can I spend $100,000 on Facebook and make $700,000 back? How can I spend $200,000 on Facebook and make 1.4 million back. So that's the basic economics of a high ticket funnel and how it works. One of the biggest challenges that we see with our clients is that the economics of your funnel look great and you just don't spend more money on ads. So I was talking to a gal the other day who was acquiring clients. This is going to blow your mind. Her front end offer was $8,000. And then her lifetime value was something like $20K. And she was acquiring $8,000 clients for about $1,300 in ad spend. So for every $1,300 she spent on ads, she was making $8,000 back. And she was afraid to scale up that campaign because she was looking around and she saw that she had more competitors and some other stuff. And I was like, you just got to spend more money on this. You have to spend more money on advertising to scale that campaign up. Because right now, if you're only spending, if you're earning back, like let's say $8 for every dollar you're spending on Facebook, why are you only spending $10,000 a month and making $80,000 back when you could be spending $100,000 a month and making $800,000 back? Now, what tends to happen is that those margins may shrink as you scale, right? Let's say you're spending, $10,000 a month on ads and you're making, $80,000 back, which would be a really, really fantastic return on investment for Facebook ads, okay? As you guys now scale that ad spend from doing 10K a month, now let's say you guys crank it up to 100K a month. Generally speaking, guys, as you scale, your ads and your cost per booking will go up. So cost per booking goes up as you scale. Okay. So if you're making back $8 for every dollar you spend on advertising when you're spending $10,000 a month on ads, when you guys start spending $100,000 a month, maybe that will go down. And maybe all of a sudden now you'll only be making $500,000 back, right? Like you went from spending $1 on Facebook and making $8 back to spending $1 on Facebook and now you're only making $5 back. Doesn't that suck? But you're still making a huge profit on your ad spend. Does that make sense? So the reason you guys have to understand this and the reason you guys need to game this out and look at this as a math problem is it's going to prevent you from emotional decision making, right? So as you scale your ad spend, in the very beginning, let's say you're spending $100 to get a call booked and you're really comfortable there. Man, I'm spending $100 to get a call booked. That's great. But now you double your ad spend and then you triple your ad spend, you quintuple your ad spend. And all of a sudden you go from spending $100 to get a call booked to now you're spending $200 to get a call booked. And you start to freak out. Oh my God, there must be something wrong with my funnel. Oh my God, there must be something wrong with my process. I'm spending $200 to get a call booked. That's not the right metric. The right metric is what is your cost to acquire a client and what are you spending on advertising versus what you're making back. That's the key metric. So it's really important that you understand this because the huge temptation can be when you're not hitting the cost per booking that you necessarily want to be hitting, or when you're not hitting the cost per booking that you kind of have in your mind to be a good cost per booking, especially as you scale, that cost per booking is going to go up. But that really doesn't matter as long as you're making back several times what you're spending on advertising. So let's talk for a minute about your P&L. People ask me all the time, like, what percentage of my overall monthly revenue should I be spending on, let's say, marketing? And what percentage of my overall monthly revenue should I be spending on payroll? Okay. So I'm going to try to give you some numbers here. And what I want you guys to understand is that these numbers are going to sort of fluctuate over time. As your business gets bigger, you may have moments where you're spending more than what I recommend on payroll, or might be spending more than what I recommend on, like, let's say advertising, okay? So let's just take a look at this really quick. Your ads and marketing should be about 20 to 25% of your P&L. So in other words, if the total revenue coming into your business is $100,000 a month, you should be spending between $20,000 and $25,000 a month on ads. The next piece is, what do we spend on labor or payroll or whatever? And I believe that should also be somewhere around 20 to 25% of your P&L. Now, there's going to be exceptions to this, and we'll talk about how to kind of calibrate that in just a minute, but that's about where I want you guys to live. And then from miscellaneous business expenses. So this is software, this is swag, this is what you spend on your events, whatever, that should be somewhere between 5 to 10% of your P&L. If you're spending less than 20 to 25% of your P&L on ads, believe it or not, it means that you're leaving money on the table. Let's say you're in a situation where you're like, dude, Russ, I'm spending $100,000 a month on ads and I'm making $1 million back. Let me just keep that gravy train going. That's not really the question. The question is, what would you be making if you were spending 20 to 25% of your P&L on ads? Because right now you're leaving a lot of money on a table if you have a funnel that's that profitable and you're not spending 20 to 25% of your P&L on ads. Now, the other thing that I want you guys to look at is labor costs. Now, labor costs are one of those things where it's not always going to be 20% of your P&L, because sometimes you need to bring on an amazing new team member that is going to produce more revenue that you don't have yet. Okay. So let's say, for example, that you have your program. As you're running your program and you're delivering incredible value for your clients, you find that you're spending, 15 hours a week doing mindset coaching with your clients. And you think to yourself, I should hire a mindset coach and I should delegate this because it's not really my specialty and I want to free up some of my time. Now, when you go out and hire that person, you might have to go a little bit higher than 20 to 25% of your P&L, depending on where you're at. The question is, with the additional time and resources that's going to free up for you, how much additional revenue can you generate with that time? All right. So let's say that you're spending 15 hours a week doing mindset coaching calls with clients that you already have. And let's say that you could be spending that time doing sales calls and acquiring new clients. Because doing mindset coaching calls with the clients you already have really doesn't put any additional revenue in your pocket. But if you were able to take that time and do like an extra 10 to 15 enrollment calls, that could be an extra 3 enrollments a week. So let's say that you have to spend $5,000 a month or whatever on that new mindset coach. You might be going, oh God, that's $5,000 a month. That's going to be a big chunk of my P&L. But if that frees you up to, let's say, do an extra 10 enrollment calls every week, that's 40 extra enrollment calls a month. And if you're enrolling at 20%, that's 8 extra enrollments. So now that investment, you spent $5,000 on that new coach, but now you picked up 8 extra enrollments every month, right? So your return on that investment is enormous. So it's really important that you guys understand the basic math and the basic economics of what a high ticket coaching business looks like. Because if you don't understand that, you're going to make decisions emotionally. Like, oh my God, I don't really know if I can afford a mindset coach right now. And you're trying to make that decision for yourself. What you need to do is you need to sit down and run the numbers. How much is it going to cost you to have that mindset coach? How much time is that going to free up for you? And what could you use that time for to bring additional revenue in the door? People get really confused about scaling your high ticket coaching business, but at the end of the day, it's real simple. The more offers you make, generally speaking, the more money you make. It's really that simple. The difference between what we were doing at Clients on Demand when we were doing $100,000 a month versus when we were doing $1 million a month or whatever is that we were just having more conversations. We were giving more people the chance to say yes. You guys might have heard me talk about this before, but for those of you guys that don't know, from age, like my whole life, I wanted to be an actor, right? And so from age 21 to age 31, I was living in LA and I was bartending and I was trying to be an actor and I was like trying to make it in Hollywood, right? Like that was my thing. That's what I really wanted to do. And man, I did all the things. I did acting classes. I did scene study classes. I went to like plays, things where we would read plays and, break them down and, figure all that stuff out. And, I would go to like different acting classes and actor groups and all this other stuff. You know what I didn't do? I didn't go on a lot of auditions. And so I sit back and I wonder, like, why did nothing happen? Nothing happened because I didn't put myself in a situation where someone could say yes or no. Like the one thing that actually matters, right? And so the same thing is true for your coaching business. The more frequently you're making an offer, the more frequently you're putting yourself in a position where someone can say yes to you, the more money you're going to make. And so that is why you spend more money on ads. You spend more money on ads to get more calls booked. That's why you hire more salespeople to help you, because they now can have, each salesperson you hire is a potential 6, 7, 8 offers that you can make that day. And all you got to do is spend enough money to fill their calendars, let them make those offers, and then enroll those people into your high ticket program.
But it has too much of an impact and transformation in my business and how I think to go back to how I was doing it.
Put this fire underneath me to send it and go. So they were more than I could ask for. So thankful for everyone on the team.
Amazing. Honestly, I'm blown away and so excited to just go implement everything that they said.
I really feel blessed that I get to do this at this level, serve at this level.
And that we also have all of the support that we need, both from the team and from one another. It's a no-brainer to surround yourself with this kind of power.
I felt like it was super no-nonsense, just like pure value. You know, I can tell how much the team genuinely cares about our success.
You feel like you're not alone and that you can accomplish anything you want.
You can't do it on your own. There's no way I would be anywhere near where I am if I was trying to do this on my own. There's nothing better out there. The support, the family, the community, people you'll never interact with anywhere else.